I'm Troy Kirby with a quick look at the 2022 Washington State Legislative Session. The House Public Safety Committee heard testimony on House Bill 1788 concerning vehicular pursuits.
Like many new laws, after they're enacted, they're revisited and modified to adapt to actual experience. And this legislation is just that response. As a matter of background, as you pointed out, I served 2 decades in law enforcement, serving as a Washington State Patrol trooper, as well as the United States Marshal for Western Washington. During my time as a trooper, I engaged in dozens of pursuits. Some ended in apprehension, and others I called off as to the risk to the community and myself were too great.
The death of Giovanni can be used as a training scenario for what not to do. House Bill 88 plays into that. Not all criminal violations warrant a hot pursuit. Driving without a suspended license is not a crime. That does not warrant a chase. Shoplifting, graffiti, or property damage. House Bill 1788 would allow officers to put all of our lives at risk.
And a lot of times we have to stop this person, in the act or right after the act has occurred, and we may not have completed enough of our investigation to make an actual arrest in that situation. So the changes in the legislation that have been proposed, they will benefit public safety, and we are in support of that.
I want to talk to you about the importance of the work you did in 2021 to acknowledge the racial profiling that is present in traffic stops, use of force, and in hot pursuits. While this topic can be polarizing, there are facts that we can bring to this discussion. Pacific Islanders like me are subject to discriminatory policing. What does that mean in real life? It means that we are at risk of being targeted by police as we go about our daily routines.
And it is one of those situations in which it has rendered essentially any pursuit of criminal suspects impossible. So we really believe that this is essential to create a safe environment. It's literally creating an unsafe environment in our community.
Also heard was HB 1815 concerning the deterrence of catalytic converter thefts.
In addition to reducing incentives for these thefts, I want to also encourage legal recycling of them by domestic scrap metal recyclers instead of having them shipped out of the country. I sincerely hope that in 7 years, new vehicle manufacturers will label their catalytic converters with VIN numbers. In the meantime, let's work on getting highly targeted catalytic converters marked and work together to address the entire ecosystem, from reducing risks to enforcement and lived experiences to courts.
And another thing, when I talked to the scrap metal dealers, they talked about where we're not buying them. Who is buying them? Could we add one more thing that we want the task force to find is who is buying these scrap or these catalytic converters from these thieves?
Neighbors and constituents contact me regularly about this dramatic increase in the theft of catalytic converters. These contain precious metals, which can be sold for quick cash, and replacing these stolen car parts costs my constituents time and money.
As in cities that each of you represent, catalytic converter theft is skyrocketing in Des Moines as well. In 2020, only 12 such thefts were reported. Through October, it was 82 here this year.
But one of the reasons we know catalytic converter is stolen when it shows up at our auto records is when the person trying to sell it cannot identify the VIN number. So you do not want to give them the VIN number by engraving it on the part. Actually, there is no reason a catalytic converter should be presented separate from a car.
Thank you for watching the 2022 Washington State Legislative Session.